Human trafficking is an incredibly complex global issue, and one of the ways that we get our arms around it and understand this is by using a story. Imagine that we're walking through a forest and we come across a massive river, and as we look up to the right, there's all of these streams and tributaries feeding into this river that lays out in front of us, and to the left we look and there's a massive waterfall, water's gushing over the edge. And as we're standing there, we look closer, we hear some screams, and we look down below us and we see women and children that are floating past us in this river. And when we are confronted with the issue of human trafficking, it feels a lot like being confronted with that kind of a situation. As we're standing there, we're looking at this, what do we do? How do we solve this massive problem in front of us? And for many people, they decide that the best thing we can do right now is we need to jump in and rescue those that we know we can help. And people jump in and they start to pull a woman or a child from that stream, and that makes a massive difference. It's very important. It's called rescue. Others look at this situation and say, well, what else can we do? Well, we could go to the bottom of the waterfall and we could help that one that's crawling out from this waterfall, and they need help. They need to be bandaged and cared for because of the trauma that they've been through. We call that restoration. And still that's not enough, because oftentimes we look at this issue and say, well, unless we stop these women and children from falling into the river in the first place, this is just going to continue to happen. And so others go upstream and they go to the banks of these tributaries and these streams way upriver, and they say, let's prevent this from happening in the first place. And that is all kinds of intervention and prevention techniques and education. And it's super important. And others look at this scenario and say, we can't face this alone. How can we solve this by ourselves? We need help. And so they go back to the nearest town and they advocate for others to come and to provide resources and to provide help and manpower. All of these things are so important. All of these are needed to solve this issue of human trafficking, and they have to happen all up and down the river all at the same time. This issue of human trafficking, it spans the globe. It's massive, because to beat a global network, we have to become a global network. And that's why we have partners all around the world in places that are the most difficult to work, in places where the need is the greatest and trafficking is at its strongest. That's the place that we want to be, and that's why we're structured exactly the way that we are.